Joining me now with his reactions, former Utah Congressman, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Jason, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Now, thanks. It sure looks like Mr. I'm a union guy Biden has lost a lot of his union support, doesn't it?
How he just took this hot pile and just said, here, Nancy Pelosi, you're going out the door. Why don't you deal with it? And Chuck Schumer. I thought in September, I saw Scott Pelley at 60 Minutes interview the hardball question, Mr. President, how did you do it?
Yeah. Oh.
And they took a victory lap on this. Look, it's the bottom line is it does need to get solved. And I've heard that even starting today, because it's not solved, a lot of these shipments, fertilizer and whatnot, are not moving forward. And that's of deep concern because people don't realize it until it happens, but how vital rail is to the functioning of our economy.
Particularly since they closed down the pipelines and oil is now being transported primarily through the rails. Now, we should mention, by the way, that we drew down our inventories dramatically. We were just expecting a loss of 2 million barrels from the previous month. It turned out to be 12 million barrels. That's an 8% loss of the historical average over the past 10 years. So, oil alone is reason for concern.
Oil, and then you add on to that coal and whatnot, and you start to realize that for those that are pro-electricity, you can't get the electricity if you don't have coal moving through the system.
Yeah.
And then the other energy products, obviously all of our consumer goods are affected by this. So it doesn't sound like the administration has a plan, and I hate the idea. If Joe Biden was so close and so tight with these unions, why couldn't they get this solved? Why is it right up to now Congress?
Because I would posit that the fact is that this administration has created a terrible situation with stagflation where the economy is not moving. And the union guys want the economy to move because that's how they make their money. The steelworkers union are furious at the administration for closing these pipelines because they're steel pipelines. I mean, in California, the governor there, Newsom, has a lot of problems with the unions because he's closed all these oil and gas wells. So it's happening throughout the Democratic Party that the union people who want the economy to move are fed up at the Democrats who are causing the economy to stall.
And my theory is that this rail strike will actually not happen. It'll force the issue. They'll get it done.
Thanks, of all people, to Bernie Sanders, who's come out with a solution that I think is going to be accepted, to have 7 sick days. And again, as Larry Kudlow has said, 7 sick days to prevent a strike right before Christmas of the rail. It sounds like it's worth it, doesn't it?
Well, let's pretend they get the deal that's on the table right now. Our cost of goods is going to go up. This adds to inflation. So, Joe Biden, don't be looking in the camera saying inflation's not real and that you got a plan, because all of these costs that come into transport are going to affect all of our consumer goods. Companies are going to pass all of this along. 25% retro for 3 years for these employees, that expense is going to go right into our cost of goods.
Although we should mention, again, because of inflation, it's actually much less than that. I mean, the inflation is killing union people, it's killing non-union people, it's killing all the workers in America. It hits everybody. And again, the only thing that's slowing the inflation down a little bit right now is the possibility of a recession, what's happening in China and Europe and elsewhere.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And remember, I go back to the Milton Friedman, pull that up from the 1960s when he talks about the only entity that creates inflation is your government. Right. They're the only ones that print more money. They're the only ones that do it. And this was done on purpose. There was a consequence to what the Democrats did. You can't spend extra trillions of dollars and not harm the American economy.
It's not only what they did, it's what they're planning to do in the next 3 months or the next couple of months before the Republicans
take over Congress. This is just the feel-good, pick-me-up conversation, isn't it?
Oh, boy. Well, the bottom line is the American economy is still the best, strongest in the world, and I think they're fighting back. They're fighting back from the small businesses who've been kicked in the teeth so many times over the past couple of years. They're fighting back from the unions. Everybody's united in the fact that this economy has to grow. It's not going to grow because of the government. It's going to grow because of the private sector.
Amen to that. And you know what? Those people on fixed incomes, people who are elderly Americans that can't go out and just get an extra job to cover the costs, I really feel for them because they're going to feel the crunch this Christmas.
Well, and they're shivering under a lot of blankets right now because they can't afford to fill up the oil tanker they have in the basement. Jason, good to see you. Thank you very much.